Knowing who I am today, a lot of the things where I probably would have thrived, those communities were not an option for me. So I felt it was very limiting. And because of that, I became a little resentful towards God. I didn't really have relationship. I only had religion.
It's by no mistake. You tuned in to elevate. Whether you could or thought you can't. Look yourself right in the face. And if you fear it, then face it and faith it. Said if you fear it, then face it and faith it. Said if you fear it, then face it and faith it. Said if you fear it, then face it and faith it.
Religion was a huge part of my upbringing, probably 99.9% of my upbringing. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, so very strenuous, church 3 times a week, going door to door, knocking, preaching, Bible studies, giving talks on stage about the Bible very, very early. So I would say religion was my entire upbringing. So ever since I was younger, I felt like it was very limiting to my social evolution and my socialization, because we had a whole 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad association spoils useful habits. And in that world, everyone who wasn't a part of that religion was bad association. So no extracurricular activities, no sports, no dance, no debate club. I rebelled against it a lot from an early age. So that's actually the time where it really started showing up, because the more I was shielded, the more I had to leave the classroom for holidays, the more I wasn't allowed to participate, the more I was told I couldn't hang out with these kids I went to school with that I felt connected to. It built in such a deep curiosity inside of me. So I started to find ways to seek them out. And so for me, the only outlet away from the house, the religion, my parents, was through work. So I actually started working. I got a job at McDonald's at 14 years old. And so I started secretly building my own communities outside of the religion, using my work as that time away to just build connection. And I just could never wrap my mind around, why are these people bad? Why are they bad association? They believe in God. They go to church. We're always inviting them to our church. Why can't I go to their church? Religion is a business. And religion, in order to successfully run a business, you need to keep control over your employees or the people involved in it. And so especially the religion I grew up in, it often gets called a cult because of how tightly controlled the people are. And it's almost a brainwashing to where you're taught that this is the only right way. And if you don't do this, when I left at 21 years old, I was taught that if I don't come back, my life's going to be horrible. God's not going to hear my prayers. And for 3 years, I believed that. And I didn't even pray for my food. I literally felt like, okay, well, if this is what God is, it's not for me. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to figure it out. And it wasn't until I got pregnant with my daughter at 25 where I feel like God really called me home and he really wrapped his arms around me. He knew that I needed him in that moment, because my first response to being pregnant was to I stood in the shower and cried for months. I would just pray and pray and pray. And I'm like, listen, God, I know I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not going back. I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, hey, I need you to come into my life right now. And my spirit drew me to this church that was right next to my condo building. And I had never even been inside of a church before. I had only been inside of a Kingdom Hall. So I would literally go in this church, I would sit in the back, and I would go to the week services, the weekend services, and I would just sit in the back and I would just cry. I would just cry the whole service. And then one of the services, when they do the call to altar, the call to accept Jesus Christ, I felt so compelled to go to the front and actually accept Jesus Christ and welcome him back in my life and surrender that mindset and just give God another chance. And my life completely transformed from that moment forward. So I feel like religion is man's way of doing God, but it's not necessarily God's way of wanting us to approach our relationship with him. And we each have our own unique purpose. And so we all have our unique path and process for establishing that relationship. So I feel like church is great for community. I feel like it's great for just having that spirit with two or more and gather, God shows up. So feeling that spirit, feeling that vibe, but that relationship, it happens when it's just you and God. It's like a very personal thing. We're born alone, we die alone, and we have to have that relationship with God singularly on our own. So that 3-year period that I previously spoke about where I wasn't praying, I didn't have God in my life, of course, in the absence of God, the devil forms a playground in your life. And for me, the devil had formed a playground in my life. I'm young, I'm very inexperienced in the world, I'm living in Miami, and I really just started getting into things that I shouldn't have been getting into, going down a path that wasn't aligned. And so when I got pregnant, having a daughter, it's like, okay, I've created a good life for myself by worldly terms. I have a great life. I'm making money. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing all these things, but this isn't something that is a part of the legacy I want to create for my daughter. So I need to figure out how to get out of this. I dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old. I didn't go to college. And so it's like, okay, I don't want to go work at Starbucks. What am I going to do? And that was a very, very hard transition. But in that moment, I learned that we don't have problems. There's promises that God hasn't fulfilled. And those promises and that fulfillment is always attached to a person. So I started to really realize that, okay, God started putting people in my life that were pushing me towards a purpose, pushing me towards a path. And that was God's way of fulfilling the promise he had for me and getting me through that storm. And every storm after that, the more in sync I became with God, I realized every time I have a problem, I just need to be still and really analyze my environment. And I always notice there's 2 types of people. There's new people that come in, and then there's people that I have that need to go out. And so when I stay connected, and that's why community is so important when it comes to relationship and God and that purpose, because even God has a community in the heaven with the angels, and we're made in his image. So he's a creator, he has his community. We're creators, we have our community, and God is always filling our community with people. And that's how I've learned how to navigate the storms in my life. Fearlessly anticipating it to happen. Faith is a knowing, it's a strong confidence. And so when I'm in these storms, so now of course I've mentally reprogrammed myself, so I handle it a little bit different. So for me, it's just stillness, because I realize that if we fight fire with fire, if we have problems and we have things coming against us, if we fight it back with emotions and worry and stress, it literally just, whatever we focus on, we attract more of. So the more we worry, the more we cry, the more we get angry, the more opportunity things come in our life to accelerate and to expand those emotions. So I've learned to just get really still and really quiet. My friends know when I'm quiet and when I'm still, I'm going through something, and when I come out, I'm going to tell them the testimony of how God took me through it, but I need that space, because that's the time where we really just have to let God talk to us, let him work it out for us, let him fight that battle for us, because sometimes it's beyond us. And it says when we pray, that's our way of talking to God. And when we meditate and we be quiet, that's God's way of talking to us. So I've learned that in the storms, that's my time to just reset, tap back in, analyze, focus on what's good, and be aware and acknowledge what's bad, and just wait. And in waiting, the solution always appears. But when we emotionally attach ourselves, and I just finished reading the book literally yesterday, The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success. And one of the laws is the law of detachment. We're very intentional and aware of what we want, but we have to be detached from the outcome, detached from the results, knowing that what's for us is coming and what's not isn't. And when we plan, God laughs. So it's like we can't get so caught up. And a lot of times those emotions during the storm is us feeling like, man, this should not be happening. This shouldn't be. This isn't my story. This isn't how I planned it. This isn't what I want. But we have a higher destiny and a higher purpose, and everything is part of our process. And so when we just kind of mentally program and switch our way of looking at problems and realizing, listen, something big is about to happen. I need to sit back, wait, and let God go handle this battle for me. And I'm just going to be preparing so that when he fixes this and clears the storm, I'm ready for my next level. And so that's how I navigate through the storms in my life right now. You know, I've been married and I've been going through divorce for a very long time. And through this divorce, I really just, as I have 3 children. And so when you're a mom and you have kids and like that, let's do it for the kids. Let's just try to make it work. Let's just not wanting to ruin your kids and traumatize them. Like that's a real thing. And so I found myself constantly going back and constantly trying to participate into a situation that I knew I wasn't called to be in, a season that I knew had already passed. And it just kept creating things. And so a situation had happened that was a life-changing situation, something that I learned that had happened behind my back. And in that moment, I was not prepared to go be on my own. I did not have a plan to completely change all directions of life. And it hit me like a ton of bricks where it's like, oh my God, this is really happening. Like this is really, really over. There is no coming back from this. This is unforgivable. And so in that moment, I literally packed my stuff. I left and I went on a 5-month journey where I was in hotels, I was in Airbnbs. I didn't know where I wanted to live. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was really, really, really challenging. But out of that, the people that I've met, the path that God has put me on, the things that are happening in my life, like I've never felt more peaceful. I've never felt more happy. I've never felt more sure, more certain. But had that storm not come, and sometimes like what that made me realize, that was a different level of my journey with God, because I realized that sometimes storms are just a shift. And had that storm never happened, I would still be sitting in that season that was not supposed to be a part of my life. And that storm shifted me into a trajectory that was aligned with who I wanted, or who God wanted me to be, and the purpose that I was supposed to be having. And so that shift, it's not a storm, that was a shift that I thought at that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the biggest hurricane, this is a category 12. But now I was like, wow, I'm so grateful for that shift. And it's like, if I see the girl today that I want to punch her in her face before, I think now I like hug her. I want to take her to lunch and buy her gifts. Because I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's just our perspective. Perspective is everything. I think faith consumes me. I think faith has taken over my entire life and my entire journey. And it's given me such a renewed sense of confidence and adventure. It's almost like it's renewed my childlike curiosity and my childlike, when you're a kid, you're not afraid to go jump off of it because you've never failed before. And so you're able to just explore in a different, more open way. But after you hit the ground a couple times, you're scared to jump because you know what falling feels like. But through this shift, I feel like God has given me an opportunity to jump and forget what it felt like to fall. So now I'm willing to take bigger risks. I'm willing to bet on myself, but I'm also more secure because in that forgetfulness, I also remember how much I've come through, and all the things that I thought negative were going to happen, they didn't happen. And if they did happen, they pushed me into a better direction. So now I'm able to move to life with just a strength and a confidence and a knowingness that every intention I set, if it's not leading me to where I want it to be, it's leading me to somewhere better. And so it's fun. I feel like I get to play in the world. It's not so hard. It's not so challenging. There's not so much pressure. I don't put that pressure on myself. I allow myself to be human. I allow myself to stay in bed when I don't feel like it. I take days off. I allow myself to be fun and be silly and to play and to just go out. I allow myself to connect. I allow myself to be transparent. The things that I used to prioritize, or the way that I used to look at what success or wealth or happiness was, I don't look at it that way. I find the wealth and success and happiness in my process of becoming. So I don't feel like I'm trying to reach somewhere. I feel like I'm already there, but I'm constantly getting better along the way. So it's just, I feel very free right now. So really, I'm just aligning with what God already told me He wanted me to become. Once I did start opening myself up to relationship and allowing myself to tap into spiritual gifts and realize other people's spiritual gifts, it's always been a prophecy over my life that I'm supposed to minister and impact millions of women around the world. And so I'm really leaning into that. So doing more TV, doing more media, finding ways to show up to where I'm more visibly seen, being on bigger platforms, sharing my story, reaching more people, going into environments I didn't go into before, just being able to just be used and be a vessel and be open. But I see myself empowering women to just go to that next level, to forget. And my brand has always been Life Swap, taking you from where you are right now and creating a new wave. I feel like I'm like a cat. I've lived 9 lives because I never try to get back to my old self. I never try to get back to an old version of myself. With every chapter closing, that's me creating a new book. I'm creating a new version of myself, and I take that as an opportunity to acknowledge what I did, acknowledge where I could have been better, acknowledge where I could have been smarter, accepting accountability because my thoughts, my decisions, my participation led to those moments, not letting blame. Blame is giving away your power. So I don't blame people for anything that happened because I don't have the power to change if I need them to fix something. So I take full accountability so that I can create my new future. And so I feel like if women, and really even men too, but I have a passion for helping women because we're an underserved community. But if women could just understand that where they are right now, good, bad, and different, welfare, projects, abusive marriage, infidelity, they didn't finish college, they didn't finish high school, 10 kids, wherever they are right now, that is a foundation that God can use to create a dream that they couldn't even imagine. That's beautiful, and that's wildly what they want for themselves, for their family. There is no expiration date for your calling or for your purpose or for your destiny. There's just a time that you decide to tap in and align with that purpose. And so I see myself on platforms really helping women to tap into that power that they have within themselves and just transforming the world through that evolution of self. Then rising up, we have to stay humble, we have to stay soft, we have to stay feminine, we have to stay ready to receive the helpmates, whether that's romantically, professionally, on a friend level, on a family level. Just because we're powerful doesn't mean we're still not that weaker vessel, that fragile flower that needs help to become the best version of ourselves. And I feel like women right now, they're going about it the wrong way. It's very masculine. It's very, I don't need anyone. I got it. Look at me. But it's really a heart work. And it's really a faith-based project, and it's not in the materialistic possessions that we can acquire. It's not in the bank accounts we can build, the cars we drive. It's not in the wealthy partners. It's really in the communities that we build, how we empower ourselves, and how we're able to create kingdoms. And kingdom is just community. So the bigger communities we can create with the bigger purposes, that is where women really rise up and make a difference in this world. This isn't going to be your last shift. Shift is going to continue to happen as long as you have breath in your body. Success is not a destination, it's a journey, and it's a journey we take until we take our last breath. So buckle up, be still, wait for the answer. Do not isolate yourself. Position yourself around people and community where God can operate and bring you the solutions that you want. Focus on the solutions, not the problems, and just know that after you conquer this battle, there will be more battles, but you will be better equipped. So just trust the process, stay faithful, stay in prayer, stay in faith, and just rely on God. Surrender to His will, surrender to His purpose, and really take accountability, really take accountability and ownership for why you're in that storm, because everything that we are going through at a cellular level, at some point, it was a thought that we had that triggered a feeling, that triggered an action, that created the life and the reality that we live. So in the middle of storms where you feel like there's nothing you can do, where you feel like your hands are tied, let God figure that out. But after he gets you through, know that he's going to get you out. But after he gets you out, decide how you're going to show up and who you're going to become and the life that you're going to create on the other side, so you don't find yourself here again. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's Grow with Miki, M-I-K-I. So spell out grow, spell out with, and then M-I-K-I. I'm on Instagram. I'm always open to conversations, open to communities, and open to opportunities to connect with women and to just really empower. And I feel like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So if you're drawn to my page, if you're drawn towards my community, I am always happy and willing to be the solution that God sees fitting for me in your life. I actually still have it from the wedding. Yes. And this is all it takes. Like, this is such a fitting example because this mustard seed is almost reflective of a thought. All you have to do is think and then believe that thought, and it can manifest into your life.
It's by no mistake.